Hello my dear students and welcome to Zenith Academy Online. My name is Shagufta Jaipuri and today we are learning a new chapter in chemistry, that is rate of reaction, and this is part 1 of this chapter. So in this video module we will be talking about rates and equilibrium. Now this is a part of GCSE O-level curriculum for year 11 students. So let's start and learn the chapter rate of reaction. Now in this video module we will study what is meant by rate of a chemical reaction and how to collect the data on the rate of a chemical reaction. Then we will also learn how to calculate the mean rate of a chemical reaction, and we will learn how to calculate rate of reaction at a specific time, that is instantaneous rate of reaction. So let's go ahead. So first is, what is rate of reaction? Now students, can you see the fireworks here? So can you predict something about the rate of the reaction here? Yes, the rate of the reaction is very fast. The reaction is very fast. That is, we can say its rate is high. And here this picture depicts the rusting of iron, and you all know that rusting of iron is a very slow process. So it is a slow chemical reaction. So we can say the rate is low. So in this chemical reaction, the reaction which is very fast, the rate of reaction is large or more, and in this the rate of reaction is very slow. So what do you mean by rate of a reaction? So the rate of a reaction is a measure of how quickly a reactant is used up or how quickly a product is formed. So here you can see the reactants are quickly used up, okay, and here the products are formed very slowly. So how do you define the rate of a reaction? It is a measure of how quickly a reactant is used up or a product is formed. Now here you can see this is a pictorial depiction of all the types of reactions. So here you can see this is a synthesis or a combination reaction where A plus B is combining to form molecule AB. This is a dissociation reaction. Here you can see this is simple decomposition reaction, and here there is double decomposition reaction. So how is rate defined? Rate can be defined as the measure of disappearance of the reactants, or how fast the reactants disappear, or we can say how quickly are the products formed. Okay, so it can be defined in two ways. So rate of a reaction or rate of a chemical reaction is a measure of how quickly the reactants disappear or the reactants get finished, or how quickly a product is formed. So now how do we determine this? So if we plot a graph of any reaction that is happening, and if we see that with time how is the amount of reactant or product varying. Okay, so if we take this blue line as reactants and this as for product. Okay, so now if you take this reaction, A plus B is forming AB. So in the course of the reaction, this A and B will get depleted and this will go on increasing. So the amount of A and B will go on decreasing and the amount of AB will go on increasing. So if we say, let's say the amount is in mass, in terms of mass. So you see that as time is increasing, the mass of reactant goes on decreasing and then it becomes 0 at a point. Okay. Even if you take the volume of the volume of reactant goes on decreasing with time. Initially this is very steep, showing that the reaction is very fast, the rate is very high in the beginning, then it slows down, and then finally the concentration, or you can say mass or volume, or in general terms the amount of reactants decreases and becomes 0. Now as the reactant is decreasing, the amount of product is increasing. So with time the amount of product goes on increasing, and at a certain point it becomes stable. Now no more product can be formed after this time, because at this time what has happened, if you can see here, at this time the reactants are over. So the product formation will stop here, and this indicates the end of the reaction. Here this indicates the end of the reaction in reactant side, and here this indicates the end of the reaction in product side. If you just want to draw the graph of amount of reactant versus time, it will be this type of a graph, and if you want to draw the amount of product, it will be such type of a graph. So there are different ways to determine the rate of a reaction. The method chosen usually depends on the reactants and the products involved, and how easy it is to measure the changes in them. So there are many kinds of methods that are there, okay, but it depends on what? The reactants and the products, and how easily it is to measure the change in their amounts. So let us see how mean rate of reaction is calculated. The mean rate of reaction can be calculated using either of the two equations. We said that rate of a chemical reaction is either the rate of decrease in the amount of reactant, or it is the rate in increase in the amount of products. So we can say the mean rate of reaction is equal to quantity of reactant that has been used divided by the time taken. So whenever you divide any quantity by time, it means you are calculating the rate of it. So the rate of disappearance of reactant, you can say. So mean rate of reaction is quantity of reactant used divided by time taken, or you can say mean rate of reaction is also equal to quantity of product that is formed divided by the time taken in formation of this product. So just remember these formulas, and you can use any of them. If reactant amount is given, you can use this formula. If the amount of product is given, you can use this formula to calculate the mean rate of reaction. Now, how to collect the data on the rate of a chemical reaction? When I showed you this graph, okay, how can you draw this graph? So for drawing any graph, you need some data. So let us see how to collect this data. So first method is measuring mass. So the change in mass of a reactant or a product can be followed during a reaction. Now this method is useful when carbon dioxide is a product. So product should be a little bulky. So when carbon dioxide is a product which leaves the reaction container, it is not suitable for hydrogen and other gases with a small relative formula mass. So we will use this method for substances that have a slightly large molecular formula mass, relative formula mass, and this is not very accurate for other gases with a small relative formula mass. So you have to remember two things here. So this is useful when the product has a slightly large relative formula mass, and it should leave the reaction container, means it has to be some gas. Okay. Now the units for rate are usually grams per second. So when you are considering mass of the reactant that is leaving the reaction mixture, then it has to be gram per second, and if you are calculating rates in per minute, it can be gram per minute. So let us see how this is done. Now here we have kept the conical flask in which reaction is happening. So inside it there is this reaction mixture. Okay. Now we have kept it over a digital balance so that we can record the mass. So initially it will be the mass of the reactants. Now when the reaction proceeds, what happens? There will be some products formed, and if one of the products is maybe a gas like carbon dioxide, it will escape out. Okay, so we have kept here a cotton wool so that gas can still escape out, but the other product remains inside or the reactant remains inside. So by this, what we are measuring? We are measuring the loss in mass. Okay, so for a reaction that produces gas, the mass of the reaction vessel can be measured over time. This The mass loss indicates the amount of gas that has been produced and escaped from the reaction vessel. So, if you plot a graph like this, okay, where on x-axis you plot time and here you plot the mass of the flask, okay, which is this mass. So with time, when time increases, what happens? The mass of flask will go on decreasing, this number will go on decreasing because the gas is escaping. So as time is increasing, mass will keep on decreasing like this. Okay, so here you can see initial gradient, the initial slope. If you see, it gives the initial speed of the reaction, and this curve is known as mass loss curve. And once all the product has been escaped, it will come to an end, it will come to a stop. So basically what you are doing, you are noting down the loss in mass at different time intervals by using a digital stopwatch or something. So with time you have to make a table. At this particular time, this is the mass. Okay, so at different times you have to note the reading of the mass, change in mass, and you will observe that as time has increased, mass has decreased. Now the gradient of this graph will give you what? The exact rate of reaction. So by noting this down, we have actually calculated the loss in mass of the reactant, because the reactant is being used up in producing the products. So you can say it either ways. Now the second method is measuring volume. The change in volume of a reactant or product can be followed during a reaction. So we can follow a change in volume of reactant or product. This method is useful when a gas leaves the reaction container. The volume of gas is measured using a gas syringe or an upside down burette or measuring cylinder. So here you can see there are reactants in this conical flask. We have added a stopcock and a delivery tube which leads to the measuring cylinder, or it can be an upside down burette. Okay, so now when one of the product formed is a gas, so the gas will release, the gas will go here and will get collected. So here in this example, it is being collected by downward displacement of water. So the gas is getting collected here and it is displacing the water down. So since this is graduated, okay, we have some readings here. So we can directly measure the volume of the gaseous product that is formed. Another way is by using a glass gas syringe. Here the same method is followed. Instead of the delivery tube leading to measuring cylinder or the upside down burette, here the delivery tube is leading to a syringe. Now when gas escapes here like this, okay, then it starts filling in it and this is pushed back. The piston is pushed back and automatically it starts filling, and we can note down the reading. Okay, so one precaution you have to follow here is you should use a spring here so that lot of gas is not filled and it doesn't break. Okay, because most of the time we use glass gas syringe in the laboratories. So to avoid its bursting, okay, what we should use a spring so that if excess gas is filled in it, it backflows. Okay. Also, while performing this, we should always wear an eye mask. Now, in this method, the units for rate are usually centimeter cube per second. Okay, because it is volume, so centimeter cube per second, or we can also say centimeter cube per minute. In measuring mass, you remember the unit was gram per second or gram per minute because we were measuring the mass. Okay. And here we are using the volume of the gaseous product that is formed. So if you see the graph here in this case, it is like this. In our previous graph, see, the mass of the reactant was reducing, that is why the graph was like this. Okay, the mass of the reactant was reducing, the mass of the flask was reducing because reactant was being used up in the formation of product. Okay, so we are getting this type of a graph. That is why it was known as mass loss curve. Now in this case, we are producing, we are collecting the volume of the product here. So as time is increasing, the volume of the gas is increasing. So the graph is something like this. So at initial stage you can see it is a steep gradient or steep slope indicating the fastest reaction rate. So the rate is fastest here, then the gradient decreases with time as the reaction rate slows down, and here the gradient becomes 0. Now this has become stable, horizontal to this. So the gradient becomes 0, it shows that the reaction is stopped or no more gas is produced. Now we know the rate of reaction can be analyzed by plotting a graph of mass or volume of product formed against time. So now if we see only product, so that is why we are plotting it like this. So how can we determine the rate of reaction, or how can we analyze the rate of reaction? By plotting a graph of mass or volume of product formed against time. Okay, so we'll plot time and the amount of product and we'll get such a graph. Now here you can see I have plotted two graphs. Now this graph, the red one, indicates that the rate of reaction is faster here because you can see the slope is steep. Also one more thing you should note, that here at the end, okay, this is quite horizontal. This much part is horizontal. It means that the reaction has come to an end, and that too very quickly it has come to an end. That is why it is a faster reaction. And here you can see the gradient or the slope is not steep, and this horizontal part has come very late. See here it has reached at this time, okay, say time t1, and now here in this it has reached at time t2. So this has reached the end quickly. So this is a faster reaction and this is a slow reaction. So the rate of reaction is more here and the rate of reaction is less here. So steeper the line, the greater the rate of reaction. So first point is the steepness of the graph or the gradient. Now the faster reactions are where the line becomes horizontal, that is finished sooner than the slower reaction. So here the line has become horizontal sooner than this. Now the third method is measuring decreasing light passing through the solution. Now students, in many of the reactions what happens is the product that is formed is insoluble and hence it precipitates out. So here if you see, it has become cloudy. Okay, that is why the cross mark that we have made on the paper, which has been kept below the flask, is visible here, but it is not visible here. This is the start of the reaction and this is the end of the reaction. So in the end the product has been formed and the product has precipitated. It was insoluble. That is why now it has become cloudy and we are not able to see that cross if we see from above. Okay, here we are able to see the cross, but here we are not able to see the cross. So this property can be used to measure the decreasing light passing through the solution. Now if we pass light through it, okay, in this case the light will pass through it very easily, but here it will not be able to pass, and that is why we are not able to see this. So now here we can time how long it takes the formation of product to cloud the view of a mark made on a piece of paper. So by using a stopwatch we can keep on noting the time, that what time did it take to cloud it completely. That is why we are not able to see the mark made on the piece of paper which was placed under the reaction vessel. The other ways are using a spectrophotometer or a calorimeter. Spectrophotometer measures the light of a specific color and calorimeter filters the light of a specific wavelength. So these two also can be used. A very good and convenient method is this one. Now here we can use this vessel here. Now initially this mark was visible. So as the reaction goes on, the mark becomes invisible. Okay, but at times we are not able to time it very properly. So what we can do is we can place a torch here and allow the light to pass through it. Okay, and here you can see I have kept a sensor. Okay, light sensing device. Okay, I have kept a sensor. nowadays in many mobiles also light sensing devices are there. Okay, so by using this simple arrangement you can take down the readings here, okay, and can note down at different time intervals what was the light intensity that was reaching here. Okay, so if you draw this on a graph, if you graph it and take time on the x-axis and light transmitted on the y-axis, then you can see that as time increases, the light transmitted decreases. So the graph becomes something like this. So initially here you can see the gradient is very steep, as the reaction completes. So as more and more time is passed, the light that has been transmitted goes on decreasing, and this is the end of the reaction. So by performing simple experiments like this, we can find out the rate by plotting light transmitted and time. Now if we want to find the rate at a fixed point, that is instantaneous rate of reaction, that is at that instant or at that specific time, what is the rate? What they have done, they have plotted a graph like this. On x-axis they have taken time, on y-axis they have taken amount of product. Okay, it can be in the form of mass or volume. In both the cases you will get a graph like this. You should always remember, in GCSE we will always plot amount of product and not reactant. So you know product is like this. How was reactant? Reactant was something like this, and this was product. So we will always plot product for finding the rate of reaction. So now this is the graph. Now we want to plot instantaneous rate of reaction, means at a particular instant, that is at a particular time. So here if you see, this is time t1. At time t1 when we want to plot, what we will do is we will take a vertical line from t1 to our graph. Suppose at this time I want to plot t1. So I will make a vertical line here. Okay. Now at this point, now this is the point that I have got. At this point I will draw a tangent. Okay, you all know what is a tangent. A tangent is a line which is passing through it and touching it at one single point. Okay, so if there is anything that has a arc or a circle, there we have to draw a tangent. Now we have to find the gradient of this tangent. Now how to find the gradient of a tangent? So we can make it as a triangle, right angle triangle, like this, and we can find the gradient. We all know the formula of gradient. So this is your delta y, that is change in the value at y-axis, and this is delta x. So your gradient is delta y upon delta x, or you can say if this is volume, then this is change in volume divided by time taken, or the change in time. Okay. So delta represents change. So this is change in time. So from here to here, suppose this is y2 and this is y1 and this is x1 and this is x2. So we can say gradient or slope or rate will be y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay. So by dividing these two quantities, we will get the rate of reaction. So what you have to take the point where you want to find the instantaneous rate of reaction, bring it to your graph. Okay. At this point, draw a tangent, take the two end points. You can take any two end points, draw the triangle. So this is change in the product, that is mass, change in volume or mass of the product, divided by change in the time. So this was all about our first module. I hope you have understood the topic very well. Please do not forget to watch our next video, in which we will be discussing about the collision theory and the different factors like surface area which affects the rate of a chemical reaction. If you have liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and write in the comment section below. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, do it right away and don't forget to tap on the bell icon so that you receive all the notifications. We'll be uploading all the videos of GCSE O-Level Year 11 of Physics and Chemistry. So stay tuned and keep the learning on. Spread our channel with all of your friends. Bye-bye and have a nice day.